Chicago, 1993. The most powerful drug lord on the West Side sits in a federal courtroom not for the 80% heroin monopoly, not for the Jamaican hit squads, not for a $50 million empire spanning 8 states. He's here for a pistol under his car seat. The courtroom's fluorescent lights buzz overhead. Willie Lloyd doesn't flinch. He commanded 30,000 soldiers, had El Chapo money before El Chapo, could order a man dead in Chicago and have Jamaican shooters executed by sundown. Today he's catching 12 years for a .357 Magnum. But here's what nobody expected. This won't be his downfall. He'll appeal, he'll fight, he'll try to reclaim his throne. And decades later, the man who built the unknown vice lords into a paramilitary force will die in a wheelchair. Paralyzed, broke, forgotten. This is how an empire disappears. But first, don't forget to subscribe. Southside Chicago, 1949. Henry Horner Homes. The projects rise like concrete monuments to poverty. 16-story towers packed with families who got nowhere else to go. Willie Lloyd grew up on Chicago's West Side, coming of age in the shadow of the Henry Horner homes. Mother working double shifts. Father, ghost. 7 siblings in a 2-bedroom unit. Elevator never works. Stairwells smell like piss and something burning. This is where kings come from, not palaces, projects. By age 10, Willie's already running errands for the older boys. Not drugs yet. Cigarettes, number slips, messages between guys who don't want to be seen talking. He's small for his age, but quick. Eyes that miss nothing. Mind that catalogs everything. The hustlers notice this one's different. This one's thinking 3 moves ahead while everyone else is reacting. But here's what most people do not understand about the vice lords. They were not born on the streets. Founded in 1958 at the Illinois State Training School for Boys, a juvenile detention facility in St. Charles. Kids locked up together, forming bonds tighter than blood. When they got out, they brought the organization home. By the early 1960s, the vice lords owned the West Side the way gravity owns the ground. You either join or you stay invisible. Willie Lloyd does not do invisible. Lloyd joined the vice lords as a juvenile, initiated into the organization like thousands of other young men on the West Side. Love, truth, peace, freedom, justice. The 5 points of the star. Noble words. Dying words if necessary. Willie understands the deal. Protection, brotherhood, purpose. In exchange, loyalty unto death. He accepts without hesitation. Willie is not content to be a soldier. He never was. And that ambition, that is the thing that changes everything. While other shorties are fighting over corners, he is studying the hierarchy. Watching how the chiefs move. Noticing who gets rich and who gets buried. The difference is not muscle. Any fool can pull a trigger. It is organization. The ones at the top think like businessmen. The rest think like corpses. Willie decides early which category he belongs to. 1969. Willie Lloyd is 20 years old. The vice lords have evolved. The civil rights movement opened doors nobody expected. The organization starts legitimate businesses. Ice cream parlors, community centers, job training programs. They are getting grants from the federal government, meeting with politicians, appearing on television as reformed gang members turn community activists. The media loves the redemption narrative, but the streets do not change that easily. Behind the storefronts, the real money still flows through narcotics, heroin mostly. Chicago's West Side is ground zero for the epidemic sweeping Black America. The vice lords control the supply lines. Willie watches the dual operation with fascination. Public legitimacy, private profit. He files the lesson away. Then everything breaks. The FBI does not buy the rehabilitation story. COINTELPRO is in full swing, targeting Black organizations everywhere. The federal authorities hit the vice lords with conspiracy charges. Leadership gets scattered. Some go to prison, some go straight, some disappear entirely. The organization fractures into factions. Conservative vice lords, insane vice lords, traveling vice lords, unknown vice lords. Each set claims different territory. Each set answers to different chiefs. Unity becomes memory. Willie Lloyd rises through the chaos, not through muscle, but through mind. And that mind is about to reshape Chicago's entire drug economy. December 1971. Willie is 20 years old when he makes a mistake that defines his legend. He heads to Davenport, Iowa with two Vice Lord soldiers. They rent a motel room and start breaking into other rooms, robbing guests at gunpoint. Police surround the building and a shootout erupts. When it ends, a state trooper is dead. Willie did not pull the trigger, but it does not matter. He receives 25 years. But here's the thing about that conviction. It transforms him from a boy gangster into something else entirely. The streets start calling him a cop killer. He becomes legend before he even knows what to do with the title. Lloyd serves 15 years of that sentence. Prison in the 1970s is a university for criminals. Every tier holds specialists, armed robbers who can crack any safe, forgers who can replicate any document, enforcers who killed for every major organization in the state. Willie studies with all of them, but his real education comes from the older gang leaders doing long stretches. Men who ran organizations before most current members were born. They teach him structure, chain of command, compartmentalization, how to run an empire from inside a cell, how to issue orders that cannot be traced, how to maintain loyalty when you cannot enforce it personally. He also learns the code. Prison politics operate on rules civilians cannot imagine. Race determines alliance. Geography determines hierarchy. Disrespect demands blood. Willie navigates it all and he builds relationships with leaders from other gangs. Not friendship, but strategic alliance. The enemy of my enemy is my partner in the drug trade. When he gets out, he is transformed. The young hustler who went in comes out a general, and what he is about to build, nobody sees it coming. Not the cops, not the rivals, not even the vice lords themselves. 1976, Willie Lloyd makes his move, and this is where a hustler becomes a kingpin. The heroin market on the west side is fragmented. Dozens of crews competing for the same customers. Violence constant, profits thin. Nobody is thinking scale. Willie is deliberate. He starts consolidating, not through warfare, through economics. He goes to the smaller crews with a proposition. Join the unknown vice lords, or get cut off from supply. See, Willie has done something nobody expected. Lloyd's organization secured reliable access to heroin supplies, allowing them to undercut and absorb smaller competitors. The crews have a choice: fight the unknown vice lords and lose access to product, or join and share the profits. Most choose survival over pride. Within 2 years, Willie controls a network stretching from Austin to Lawndale. 15 drug houses operating around the clock. Street-level dealers answering to lieutenants, answering to captains, answering to him. That's not drug dealing, that's hostile takeover. Corporate America with heroin. The money changes everything. Drug houses pulling $50,000 a week each. 15 houses running around the clock. Cash money, untraceable, piling up in stash houses across the west side. Willie does not blow it on jewelry and cars like the younger hustlers. He reinvests. More product, more territory, more soldiers. But territory expansion creates problems. The gangster disciples control the south side. The Latin Kings run Humboldt Park. The Black Pea Stones have chunks of woodlawn. Everyone is watching Willie Lloyd's rise. Some want alliance, some want war, some want both. 1979, the bodies start stacking. A gangster, Disciples lieutenant, is found in an alley near Roosevelt Road, 2 holes in the back of his head. No witnesses, no evidence, no arrests. 2 weeks later, a Vice Lord's lieutenant dies the same way. Retaliation cycles like seasons. Willie handles it strategically. He does not start wars he cannot win. He does not finish wars that drain resources. Sometimes he negotiates, sometimes he eliminates. Always he calculates. The police are watching too. The gang crimes unit has files on every major player. Willie Lloyd's file is thick and getting thicker. Surveillance photos outside drug houses. Wiretap transcripts full of coded language. Informant reports that never quite add up to charges. Willie is careful. never touches product personally, never carries money, never gives orders that can be recorded. Everything flows through intermediaries, cutouts, deniable assets. But insulation has an expiration date. By 1983, the unknown vice lords are the dominant force on the west side. Conservative estimates put membership at 10,000. Some sources say higher, much higher. The organization operates like a corporation. Willie at the top, chief of chiefs. Below him, a board of governors. Regional commanders controlling specific territories. Block captains managing individual drug houses. Street soldiers handling sales and enforcement. That is not a gang, that is a Fortune 500 org chart with guns. The heroin business alone generates an estimated $50 million annually, but Willie is diversified. Cocaine is hitting the market hard now. Crack not yet, but the powder trade is booming. Willie adds it to the portfolio. Some crews specialize in heroin. Some handle cocaine. Some do both. Different products, different customers, same profit structure. Then Willie does something unprecedented. He reaches beyond Chicago. The vice lord's influence spreads beyond Chicago during this period, with affiliated sets appearing in cities across the Midwest. By the mid-1980s, Willie Lloyd commands an organization spanning multiple states, 30,000 members by some estimates. That is not a gang, that is a paramilitary force. In any legitimate context, they would call him Chief Executive Officer. In the streets, they call him King Willie, but the crown draws challengers. 1984. Tension with the black gangster. Disciples reaches critical mass. Larry Hoover runs the gangster disciples from prison, same as Willie runs his organization from the streets. 2 empires, 2 kings, 1 city. Coexistence requires clear boundaries. When boundaries blur, blood spills. A dispute over territory near the Robert Taylor home sparks it. A vice lord's drug house opens too close to gangster disciples' territory. Words are exchanged, then shots. A 16-year-old gangster disciple soldier dies on a corner he had worked since he was 13. Retaliation comes within 48 hours. A vice lord's lieutenant catches a bullet outside a nightclub on Madison Street. The cycle threatens to consume both organizations. Willie recognizes the danger. War with the gangster, disciples means police attention, federal scrutiny, and declining profits for everyone. He reaches out through intermediaries and proposes a sit-down on neutral territory with guaranteed safety. The immediate crisis is diffused. Tensions between the vice lords and gangster disciples eventually cool, with both sides reportedly reaching informal understandings about territory and business. But Willie's real innovation is not the product, and it is not the territory, it is the violence. By the mid-1980s, law enforcement noted the presence of Jamaican criminal organizations in several American cities, including Chicago, though their specific connections to local gang leadership remain murky. The hit rate is devastating. Bodies appear across the west side with no apparent connection to ongoing beefs. Police cannot make sense of the pattern because there is no pattern. Each killing is isolated, contracted, professional. Federal agents start noticing. The DEA has been tracking Jamaican pauses for years, watching them move from drug distribution to contract killing. When similar signatures appear in Chicago, alarms go off. Someone local is hiring Caribbean muscle. The investigation focuses on known drug networks. Willie Lloyd's name floats to the top, but proving it is another matter. The Jamaicans do not flip, they cannot flip. Their families back in Kingston face consequences worse than any American prison sentence. The chain of communication breaks wherever investigators pull. Willie remains insulated. In 1986, the crack epidemic transformed the drug economy overnight. Powder cocaine was already profitable. Crack is a gold mine. Take a kilo, cook it into rocks, triple your revenue. The high is immediate, intense, and brief. Users need more constantly. Addiction rates spike and demand explodes. Willie Lloyd sees it coming before most. He shifts resources toward crack production. The unknown vice lord set up cooking operations in abandoned buildings across the west side. Simple chemistry, easy to teach. Even teenagers can run the process. The product flows into drug houses that never close, serving customers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Revenue doubles, then doubles again. At its peak, the organization's drug revenues were enormous by any measure, though exact figures were never established. That is, Fortune 500 money. That is multinational corporation revenue generated from abandoned buildings and corner transactions. The irony is bitter. The same communities Willie claims to protect are being destroyed by the product he sells. Crack does not discriminate. It takes mothers, fathers, teachers, and bus drivers. Families collapse. Children end up in foster care. The social fabric of the West Side shreds under the weight of addiction. Willie does not see it that way. Or maybe he sees it and does not care. The game is the game. Supply and demand. Economics without morality. Someone is going to sell it regardless. Might as well be him. Might as well be the unknown vice lords feeding their families off the profits. And that justification is the same one every kingpin uses right before the fall. By the late 1980s, federal agencies had launched major investigations targeting Chicago's gang leadership, with Lloyd among their primary subjects. The investigation takes years. Wiretaps capture thousands of hours of conversation. Informants flip at every level. Drug buys get recorded on hidden cameras. The evidence mounts like snowfall, slow but relentless. Willie knows they're watching. You don't run an organization this size without understanding heat. He adapts. Changes phones constantly, meets in different locations, uses code words that shift weekly. Never discusses business in any space he doesn't control, but the organization is too big, too many people, too many potential weak points. Someone will talk. Someone always talks. The kingdom slips away one compromised conversation at a time. Lloyd faced federal racketeering charges that threatened to end his career permanently. Though legal battles over his conviction would continue for years, the trial lasts months. Witness after witness takes the stand. Former soldiers describing the hierarchy, accountants detailing the money flow, victims' families staring at the man they blame for destroying their neighborhoods. Willie maintains composure throughout, sits at the defense table in expensive suits, taking notes, conferring with lawyers. The street general playing the role of legitimate businessman caught in a legal misunderstanding. The jury doesn't buy it. Guilty on multiple counts. The sentence comes down. Life in federal prison, no parole. Willie Lloyd, king of the unknown vice lords, commander of 30,000 soldiers, architect of an 80% heroin monopoly, will die behind bars. Except he doesn't. Appeals drag on for years. Legal technicalities multiply. Constitutional challenges to evidence collection. Prosecutorial overreach arguments. The case gets tangled in procedural disputes. 1993. Separate case, different circumstances. Willie's out on appeal from the federal conviction. Should be keeping his head down, staying invisible until the courts decide his fate. Instead, he's riding in a car on the south side when police pull him over. Routine traffic stop, but there's nothing routine about what they find. A .357 Magnum under the driver's seat. Willie Lloyd is a convicted felon. Felons can't possess firearms. Simple charge. Slam dunk conviction. Think about the mathematics. This man orchestrated an empire spanning 8 states. Ordered hits carried out by Jamaican assassins. Moved more heroin than any single organization in Chicago history. Now he's going down for a pistol someone might have left in the car. The federal weapons charge sticks. 12 years added to his legal troubles. The Rice Hole case continues its labyrinthine journey through appeals courts. Willie bounces between institutions, federal facilities across the Midwest. Each transfer breaks connections. Each move reminds him the government controls everything now. The unknown vice lords don't collapse without him. That's the testament to his organizational genius. The structure holds. Lieutenants step into leadership roles. The drug houses keep operating. The money keeps flowing, but it's not the same. The strategic vision fades. Petty beefs escalate that Willie would have squashed. Territory shrinks as hungrier organizations push in. From prison, Willie tries to maintain influence. Letters that get read by guards. phone calls that get recorded, visits that get monitored. Every communication is a potential prosecution. He learns to speak in codes so elaborate they barely communicate meaning. But here's what nobody expected. His own people turn against him. Tyrone Baby Ty Williams assumed power while Willie sat in prison. When Willie tries to reassert control from inside, Williams builds an opposition movement. The unknown vice lords fracture. Willie orders the kidnapping of Williams's brother over a $6,000 debt. Retaliation comes fast and brutal. Williams' crew shoots up a car carrying Willie's relatives. His infant son is inside. Somehow nobody dies, but the war isn't over. Williams' soldiers murder Willie's right-hand man in a drive-by. Then they drag two of Willie's teenage drug dealers to railroad tracks. The boys cry, they beg, they die anyway. Execution style, the empire Willie built is eating itself alive. In 2002, after a decade of legal battles with appeals exhausted and time served, Willie Lloyd walks out of federal custody. He is 52 years old. The world has changed entirely. The crack epidemic peaked and receded. Heroin has made a comeback, but in different forms and different distribution networks. The gang landscape is unrecognizable. Sets that did not exist when he went in now control territory he built. Young leaders who do not remember King Willie make decisions without consulting history. He tries something nobody expected. Lloyd decides to retire from his life of crime and attempt to earn a legitimate living as a mediator for gang members. He begins working with Chicago's School of Public Health, the Chicago Project for Violence and Ceasefire. He lectures freshmen at DePaul University on the dangers of gang life. He calls his new work mediation. But here's the problem with redemption on the streets. Nobody believes it. Rumors persist that Lloyd still wants to collect a tax from the vice lords, that the anti-violence work is a front, that King Willie never really stepped down. In August 2003, Willie Lloyd is walking his dogs in Garfield Park when gunmen open fire. 6 bullets hit him. He survives, barely. The shooting leaves him paralyzed from the neck down. Paralyzed. His last 12 years are spent in a wheelchair. He is unable to move his arms or legs. The man who commanded 30,000 soldiers cannot lift a glass of water. Eventually, he relocates with his family to Minnesota and retreats to a quiet life, far from the corners he once ruled. In 2015, Willie Lloyd dies at the age of 64. Nothing dramatic, no hail of bullets, no federal raid, no blaze of street glory, just an old man in a wheelchair. Machines finally stop beeping. Nobody in the room remembers what he built, what he destroyed. 30,000 soldiers once. Today, just medical staff checking vitals on a man whose name means nothing to them. The obituaries are small. Local papers note his passing. Former chief of the unknown vice lords. Significant figure in Chicago gang history. Controlled major narcotics distribution network in the 1980s. The language is clinical. The man behind the statistics disappeared decades ago. The unknown vice lords still exist, diminished, fragmented, but present on corners Willie Lloyd would recognize. Young men wear the colors he established, throw signs he codified, follow codes he wrote. They mostly do not know his story. They know the name. They know the legend. King Willie, the one who built it all. But here's what the legend never captures. The neighborhoods Willie poisoned never recovered. The families destroyed by addiction he profited from stayed destroyed. The bodies that dropped, the Jamaican hitmen he imported, the rivals eliminated to protect market share, those holes in the community never filled. Never filled. He controlled 80% of Chicago's heroin. He hired killers from Caribbean posses. He built an empire spanning states and commanding tens of thousands. He generated hundreds of millions in revenue. He served time in facilities designed to hold the nation's most dangerous criminals. And he died in a wheelchair, paralyzed and broke. A body that failed him the way he failed his community. Broke. 30,000 soldiers, 50 million a year, 80% of the market. That is how kings fall.